Hello, traders. It's 8:03 a.m. Chicago time on Monday, the 31st of August, 2020. Enjoy your last day of August of the year 2020. That sounds pretty depressing, but here it is. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This morning, the overall market stance is quite mixed. Let me turn down my news feed. Hopefully, I'm nice and clear sound wise. Um, Crude oil is a leader today, up 27 cents, trading at 43.24 in the October contract, 0.63%. The euro is up. The Nasdaq's up 11.5 points, trading over 12,000. It's currently at 12,000 and 1.5. Um, and then gold is up $1, trading at 1975.9 or 0.05%. Really, the laggard this morning is the Euro Stoxx 50 and the Japanese yen. The Euro Stoxx 50 are down 15. It's really a very kind of mixed blah kind of a morning. Although there's pretty decent price discovery overnight, it looked like we're opening in yet another gap higher, which has now been taken back. There are some important comments coming through from Fed's Clarita. There's a pretty consequential comments here about the new Fed policy and how it intends to move forward. This is getting a reaction now from the markets, something to pay attention to. As far as the calendar is concerned, this week has some important releases. Of course, we do have we did have consumer confidence from Japan. We do have the Kaizen manufacturing PMI this evening at 8:45 Central, 9:45 Eastern. Tomorrow or Thursday we get balance of trade, but Friday we get non-farm payrolls for August, expecting 1.49 million new jobs created in August. Not really new jobs because we're still in a deficit from the pandemic from March and April. But the non-farm payroll is this Friday for August, and tomorrow, of course, welcome to September. For the rest of the day, there really isn't much on the calendar. There's Clarita's speaking now. Fed's Bostic speaks at 10:30 Eastern, and that's where we are. So let's move to what was expected on Friday. Friday, the primary scenario was looking for a dip lower and then a push. 35 really was looking for 35 10 or so, and why is it so fuzzy? 35.10 or so, and then for it to fall back through, for it to bounce out into the weekend. So we're looking for a dip towards the 34.87 or so. This level right here. Oops, keep hitting the wrong screen. This level right here, if it's not able to hold this level, then I outlined what's below, and so on and so forth. 34.81 would have been the next, but we're looking for a reaction at about 34.87 and a push up into 35.10. Here's what actually happened. Here's Friday's play. Friday ended up pushing down to immediately actually pushing down through that 34.87, chopping around and then holding the below the mid to push to 34.80.75. Again, this is the next area down, 34.80.75. Oops, I mean, I am all over the place with this thing. 34.8075, which is right here. So you can see that number tucked away in there, 34.8075, and that's pretty much the dead bottom. The dead bottom for the session. Again, here it is, 34.8075, and then from there we rally on to 35.06, never make it to 35.10. And then we hold steady at the top. We have a double distribution profile. We do not shift the point of control higher. Point of control remains inside of the initial balance, the yellow lines right here, the two yellow lines right there. And it is a neutral extreme up close. We push the IB lower, and then we extended the IB up, pulled back, pretty deep pull back into the mid here after a what is an impulse up, and then we end up closing near high, so we expect this to float higher in the overnight session, and it sure did. So that's where Friday stands. Now here's again something to note about Friday is we opened at 34.9375, which marks the zero line, and even though we opened up there and ended up pushing back, we were responsive on Friday and traded well below it. We were up on the session throughout this scheme here, and then on the dip, we end up pushing lower, pushing the delta to negative territory, and then as we push back to the open, we expect it to go back to zero or positive, and it does. And then from there on out, this entire run was really not well participated here. So the run up into the close was done with prices pushing higher on passive volume rather than aggressor-based volume. So the delta did not move with price into that neutral extreme close. Neutral extreme is important to note because, you know, the market tests one side and then it finishes on the other side, breaks the initial balance, tests the first hour, which is the highest volume hour of the day, tests the first hour's balance, and then pushes to the other side and finishes to the other side. This usually tells us that there was a check down below, and it can confidently move higher, and this portends neutral extremes portend a continuation in that direction, and the direction here is with the trend. So paying attention to that today, carrying into the session. Here's the overnight session. Here's the overnight session. Again, the shaded, the dark gray shaded areas are RTH. This was Friday. The blue profile is RTH. The yellow profile or the orange profile is the full session. And so far in the overnight session, we had 185,000 contracts, which is pretty decent. We opened in a gap right there, and we immediately sought prices higher. We left this quite blunt, pretty weak high as it consolidated into the high, and then it finally broke lower. And it came back, and it has come back, and it is it's trading right into Friday's close. And so we are unchanged on, we are unchanged versus Friday. Multi-pronged profile in the overnight session, so pretty active price discovery. Delta was positive for the session until this last splash down. We have a pretty strong negative delta on this last bar here as we start to true up or balance out before the session begins. And we have below us, we have this very clear low volume node, this key low volume node right here at 3,500, which is basically the line in the sand in today's auction. And then if you look below there, we have a pretty well distributed Friday distribution of volume. And so that gives us a valid value area. So I'm looking for the test of the value high at 34.96 and a quarter, 34.96 and a quarter here. If this does not hold, it gives us a pullback short into the point of control beneath it. The point of control is 34.91 and a quarter. So looking for 34.91 to test below there, which brings us into this high distribution kind of area right here on the composite. And I'm looking for chop as it sits through here, and that'll be it for Monday most likely. So the way this is setting up is it has done its price discovery higher. It continued the neutral extreme up as we would expect it. It did so on a gap, and now it has given those prices up with the mid point of control and VWAP just above us. They're clustered right up here, and it's moving away from that and back towards Friday's value area. This is a responsive market now, and it's likely to continue. Especially if it challenges the 3,500 and gives it up that yellow line right there. So that's where this stands currently as we approach this morning. Now, let's take a look at what's expected for today. Okay, so what are we looking for today? This morning, as I said, it's basically a repetition of what I just covered. I'm looking for the market to continue to extend the overnight low. I'm looking for an open. We're opening in range out of value. I'm looking for it to close the gap above, attempt to push through the 3506. I'm looking for failure there. I'm looking for an impulse down that consolidates, tests this 96.50 area, 96 and a quarter value high, a potential bounce, and then from there it's really tough to tell if it's likely to bounce up or not. The sell-offs have been bought quite consistently, BTFD by the bleep dip. And so I'm looking for a potential bounce here. Scenario two, same scene, push up, push down into the 96, and then consolidate, but fail to continue, consolidate at the point of control, and then give us the entire range down into 83. This is, of course, the better opportunity trade, and then we would likely approach the 3,500 from below. Scenario two is the same as scenario one, except it does not bounce. It continues lower. The test today will be, do we push through into the Friday value area or not? The third scenario, of course, is a continuation of the move, pushes into the value high of Friday, attempts to get into the point of control, gets the response, consolidates, and squeezes back to gets over the 3,500, squeezes back to the overnight point of control, and VWAP and so on, and then consolidates up here. I'm not expecting much range. It is a Monday in the middle of summer, or at the tail end of summer, really, at this point. So I'm not expecting too much. One more thing I need to remind you of before we all run off is that next weekend is a long weekend here in the U.S. We have Labor Day on Monday, which is a holiday. The market's open half a day. But coming into non-farm payroll Friday, there's likely to be some positioning, not expecting too much in terms of surprise on the non-farm payroll. On the non-farm payrolls, so expecting it to be a one and done type of move into the holiday, and then some adjusting on Friday into the session. So as we approach Friday, the market's likely to get a little jittery, a little funky, and then I'm looking for Friday afternoon to be absolutely dead. It's a good day to leave early or do homework or focus your attention elsewhere. And then next Monday is a holiday. I will not be here. for the half day. It ends the summer. Next Monday marks the end of summer here in the United States. Normally, if they had opened the pools this year, which they did not, they would be closing all of the pools and winding down outside activities, official outside activities, and so on. And so the market generally kind of slows into a grind right after non-farm payroll, into non-farm payroll, really. So this week is likely to be, point being, this week is likely to be a relatively slow week unless news comes in. Good luck today. Let's keep it a short one. Good luck today, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Don't forget, if you have not hit the subscribe button on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, please do so. If you already have, don't hit it again because it unsubscribes you. But if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and you'll automatically get the invitation notification on your browser if you allow it. Good luck, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.